Buckle up, hotties. It's time to talk some hoops. Welcome to Crunch Wears No Pants with Brandon, Nate, and Jordan.
What's poppin', panty people? Welcome to Crunch Wears No Pants. I am Jordan, no nickname Alamat. That's Brandon Beck. That's Nate Knight Alsdorf. And we are the bosses, I think, of the hoops department of PullTabSports.com. And we are powered exclusively by Jimmy's Dips and Joe Mama's Salsa. There's nothing else in our bodies besides water. We eat water. We eat dip. We eat salsa plain.
What is like the water percentage breakdown? Like the human body is 70% water.
It should be 70.
30%.
Yeah, it's flip-flop.
The other 30% is Jimmy's Dips and Joe Mama's Salsa.
100%. Let's see. We did the sponsor plugs. We did the website plug. We haven't done the icebreaker question, though. Gentlemen, this one's going to be good this week, I promise, because I thought about it. Elon Musk.
Great start.
That's it. That's the icebreaker question.
He
Bad.
Rate on a scale from good to bad.
Well, hang on. He can you believe it? He created a Timberwolves themed time machine, but only works for 2 events, and you get to go back and undo one of them. There's only enough Musk juice for one of them. You can only undo one of these scenarios. Are you ready?
So are you giving us the 2
Yes.
scenarios? Okay.
Yes. Are you ready to receive them?
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't think you are. Much like how the world wasn't ready to receive the gift of baby Jesus a couple days ago, you're not ready for these 2 things. Okay, the 2 things are the Joe Smith signing or the Jimmy Butler trade. You get to undo one of those things.
Which Jimmy Butler trade?
The one that brought him to the Timberwolves.
Oh, the Joe Smith contract.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, definitely.
The revisionist history that the Wolves were not good when they got Jimmy Butler is so dumb.
Yeah, but it was so bad and sad to watch because it was like a soulless team.
Okay, here's the deal.
I agree with you. That's Joe Smith.
If Tom Thibodeau had just done a better trade of Jimmy Butler when he requested out,
Oh, yeah.
then that would
There's
have
no
been
problem.
like, there would have been no problems with that.
You don't like Rocco and Dario Saric?
I love Rocco and Dario Saric.
Great guys.
It's absurd that we traded Jimmy Butler for 2 role players and no picks.
So
Did we really not get any picks? Not even a second rounder?
I don't think so. We might. Was there a second rounder? I don't think there was any picks.
I mean,
But
regardless, it's moot. But yikes.
it's going to take a while for me to dig this up.
Oh, it
it's
doesn't
probably
matter.
not that valuable.
But yeah, it's a Joe Smith trade because that derailed the Kevin Garnett tenure and just wasted the number
Also-
2 big man of all time.
Also,
Or
just
one.
like an insanely over the top punishment. Like, did you see that the Knicks just got like a 2nd round pick revoked for tampering with Jalen Brunson, but the Timberwolves tampered with Joe Smith, and it's like you lose 48 first round picks.
This goes into like a theory I have. I think the NBA wants the Timberwolves to be the punching bags always because they just keep giving us the shaft. The refs give us the shaft. The punishment is the shaft. I also have yes, Brandon, you're raising a finger.
They did get a 2nd round pick and another player in the Jimmy
Who are they
Butler
turning
trade.
to?
They also got Jared Bayless, lest we forget.
That's right. Yep.
Wolves great former random wolf of the week, Jared Bayless, and a 2nd round pick that we used this season to draft
Mateo.
future MVP Matteo Spagnuolo.
Let's
Yeah.
go. Okay,
Yes.
the trade could be a
worked
W.
out. It worked out
I'm
already.
kind of into Mateo. I was thinking about this today. When do we bring up Spagnuolo?
Has fully redeemed the trade for Jolly.
I'm into it. I love a foreign white guy. Domestic white guy?
Ja-
Fuck out of here.
I'm so excited.
Jolly
for-
went from Ricky Rubio to Leandro Balmaro, and Matteo
Mateo.
Spagnuolo is the new guy.
So Ricky's from Spain. Leo's from
Argentina.
Argentina. And where is Mateo from?
Also Spain?
I thought he was also Spain.
Okay.
Hang on.
I thought we were maybe like working our way around.
Let's talk
that.
about Balmaro. So you guys know, like after World War II when they did the trials, and
He's Italian.
he's
We should
Italian.
have known.
Oh yeah,
Spagnuolo.
Spagnuolo. I love how we both did Spagnuolo.
Yeah.
Hang on. So Leandro Balmaro from Argentina. You know how after World War II, all of the, I don't want to say the word, all the bad people from Germany, they like went to trial and got relocated to Argentina. Are we sure that Balmaro doesn't have some problematic blood in him? No, he's not blonde haired. He's a full on Argentinian.
We'll dig into this.
How
For the
do,
next pod.
do the Balmaros celebrate Oktoberfest?
Next-
Is what I want to know.
Next bonus segment is entirely the lineage.
This is a real deep,
Leo
a real
Balmaro.
deep dive into Leandro Balmaro's ancestry and the
Leandro-
icebreaker question.
Leo's grandparents, were they Nazis? Okay.
I
Let's,
hope not.
I feel
Hot
really
take.
bad about that jersey that I bought, if that's the case. I have a Balmaro jersey and some Kanye albums and vinyls. Like,
Jordan is not aging well at all.
Oh God, let's talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves. Shall me with my friends. Shall we?
It's just Jolly going on this one.
Really set himself up there.
It's gonna be a lot of Gobert slander. The vibes, interesting, maybe. I don't know. We'll talk about the vibes. We broke it down into. We're trying a new "How is the vibe" segments with a thesis statement and 3 supporting paragraphs, each handled by one of us. Kind of. We'll see how that goes, and then we're gonna have the first annual Crunch Wears No Pants year-end panty award extravaganza.
The fuck when Pipes.
The fuck when Pipes. The Spagnolo special. So we'll go through and give our 2022 awards to people that we think deserve them, complete with an in memoriam segment. And then classic random wolf of the week.
Oh, wow.
Guess that wolf.
But before we do any of that, we have to talk about freaking James Dipperton.
You're really digging in on the James Dipperton
It's
angle.
funny. It's funny to make it proper.
He's building the backstory.
Yeah. Well,
Jimothy Dipperton.
Jimmer Fredette. Future wolf.
Jenner Fredette.
Shockingly enough. No, Jimmy's Dips. Okay, so you've heard us talk about the Jimmy's Dips caramel, right? They have the standard, they got the sea salt. It's by the apples in your Cubs or your Hy-Vees, okay? After the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, you might be feeling a little bit like, oh, I had too much pork roast and I had too many sugar cookies and I feel like absolute garbage because I ate so much unhealthy stuff. Well, like Brandon said last week, Jimmy's Caramel Dips will help you increase your apple intake, which is a great alternative to, I don't know, a bunch of mini M&Ms.
And if it keeps the doctors away, so if you hate doctors,
They're not coming anywhere near you.
yeah, doctor repellent.
Yeah.
Jimmy's Dips.
Which is big. It's big. So Jimmy's Dips, they'll help you eat more apples. They'll help you eat more vegetables because they have veggie dips. I can almost guarantee that any Minnesotans had Jimmy's Dips because they have a great placement in Target.
It was the veggie dip. I was at one of my, I think it was at my niece's birthday party or something, and they had Jimmy's veggie dip just in the center, unrelated
Wow.
to our advertising. And I was like, look at that.
Influenced.
Well, I heard it was your niece's birthday party.
I think so. I'm trying to remember what the context was.
I heard-
it was my niece's baptism.
Oh, nice.
That's what it was.
they baptized her
Sponsored-
in Jimmy's
Yes.
Dips.
Sponsored by Jimmy's Dips.
Jimmy's Dips caramel Dipperette. They have like a caramel cross. Just it's dry. That's what happens. You get baptized with the caramel dip, and then the pastor dips it in the base. Blood, the body of you shed for me. So, dude, go copy your Jimmy's Dips. All right, the caramel dip, which I think is still in season. I think that's year round, but if it's not, cop the veggie dip. You'd be like, hey, how do I know if it's Jimmy's Dips? We'll say Jimmy's on it in a green cursive font. So just freaking get it. It's also red on the caramel. So I shouldn't just assign them the color. But that's Jimmy's Dips. This is the vibes. How are the vibes, gentlemen? Since we last recorded, the Wolves are 3-6, 3-6 Mafia, but no pop in my collar. Haha, that's a Memphis hip hop joke.
Nice.
Within those wins, there was a 150-point dismantling of the Bulls, which was reminiscent of last year. They lost and had a team meeting, which last year, whenever the Wolves beat someone, like there'd be like, the Nets are calling a team meeting or something. It's like, well, okay, we broke your spirit. That's great. And then within those losses, there were mind-boggling ball drops versus Portland. Those games sucked. We lost to an undermanned. Oh,
one
yes.
of the Portland games sucked.
The
The other
second
one
one.
was like they played pretty well, and I think Portland just like made some tough shots.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was bad.
It was Dame. It was fun to see Dame back at it, though. I just love watching Dame play. It's great. Then we also lost to an undermanned Miami Heat team as of yesterday, as we're recording it. That was bad. I have many thoughts, and guess what? They're all directed towards one person. And there also was a loss where a bad quarter cost the Wolves a dub against the Celtics, which was kind of a promising loss, if there is such a thing. You don't feel it? You don't feel it?
I think that they didn't actually play that well in that game, and Boston just missed shots
Yeah, I
until
was
the
going to
fourth
say,
quarter.
is that the game where no
Yeah.
one could hit?
Yeah,
at all?
that was just, I don't know.
Yeah.
And that one just you kind of chalk up to they haven't won. They show the highlights for the last time they won in Boston. Every time they go to Boston,
Yep.
and Latrell Sprewell is like in the highlights.
I love it. In terms of other things that happened since we last recorded, Nate Knight reminded us he existed, and boy, was that a fun experience. That was fun to see. Naz Reid showed Tim Connolly that he is better than the French guy, which we all freaking knew, but no one listens to us. And then Anthony Edwards showed signs of making the leap. Off the court, Rudy liked an Elon tweet that included the always funny and never detrimental to a community pronoun joke. And then he did charity work to make us all forget that he did that, which wasn't suspicious at all. And then rumors circulated that Pat Bev wants to come back. So after all that happened in the last freaking, I don't know, like 11 days. No, more than that.
Like 16 days?
Like 16 days since we recorded. I posed the question, how are the vibes? Durf, start us off with your thoughts on the vibes.
The vibes are mid.
Yes.
That's what I got.
That's
it. The vibes are mid because it is what it is. I default to what Beck said our last episode where it's just fine. Like we have like flashes that are nice and then we regress and we don't really get any sort of traction. I saw a tweet that we're 16 and 18 now, 16 and 19. We were the exact same record last year and the comparisons to last year continue. But it still just doesn't feel, it feels like we're stuck in a limbo. Everybody's hurt. There's like we're not really building on anything. I don't know. It just feels fine.
When you watch, do you think everything looks so difficult?
Yeah. Well, when I don't want to say his name because it's just going to set Jell
No,
up.
say it.
But when
say it. No, say it. No, dude, say it.
When Rudolph Gobert is on the court, it feels like we're playing in quicksand.
When Rudy's on the court, it feels like my daughter trying to stand up on her own.
There's just
so difficult.
There's no flow whatsoever.
We're gonna get into like what the bad stuff is.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll go there.
I'll just like
that's my last question.
To summarize the cons, injuries, Jalen Noel sucks. Rudy is fine. Sometimes Forbes is bad. Luka is atrocious. But sorry for having that take.
Let's clear out for a second as you have you have a stock update.
Yeah.
What's your stock update?
My stock update is I have sold at a 55% loss.
So it's realized.
It is realized. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not potential. It has happened. I gave up on my previous son, Luka, and I've put all that into Nate Knight stock because
I don't think Nate Knight has played since you bought the stock.
It's stagnant. It's stagnant. There's no losses or gains. Yes. Which brings my next point. I'm going to put you guys onto the Timberwolves' next best kept secret. Nate Knight. No, I didn't prepare anything.
Brandon, how are the vibes? What's cracking?
So I think the vibes are bad, very bad.
That's fair.
Not even just from like on the court perspective. Like I don't think like it's a lost season or anything like that. I still think they're probably going to end up in the play-in game. I'm more talking about just like Timberwolves Twitter is just like insufferably bad right now.
You're welcome.
Good memes though.
I mean, but not even that. Like there aren't even good memes anymore because everyone's just so mad, and it's just gotten impossible to like
have fun,
act or even reasonably critique what's going on because everything that goes on is just the freaking Rudy Gobert trade is a disaster and it's the worst thing. And guess what? It looks like a really bad trade right now, but there's other stuff going wrong that we'll talk about later in the show. And it's just, and not through, I'm not like blaming Timberwolves Twitter because the on-court stuff is bad and people are mad and expectations are raised, but it's just a really, really like sad place. And I was talking to you guys when we were doing some show prep about how it's just the Timberwolves have made me so sad that I don't even like watching League Pass now because basketball just reminds me of how sad the Timberwolves make me.
Oh no.
So
it's broken Brandon's will.
Yeah, it's the vibes are not good. They are much worse, I think, than last week. Or I guess it was now 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Do you guys want my just watch the game opinion, or like I'm now 24 hours removed from watching the game opinion?
I want your 24 hours removed opinion because I've seen enough of you just mercilessly slandering the Rudy Gobert trade at every turn.
I held it in. Have you guys heard of semen retention?
Cut it.
Cut.
So it's when you don't ejaculate for so long. And I kept my thoughts on the Rudy trade.
Made it 15 minutes into this one.
So this is just a big ejaculate of anti-Rudy symptom. Because that's what I did. My hatred of the Rudy Gobert trade is just, and I was doing. No, I think the vibes are okay. Am I cataclysmic about the trade? Yes. And I mean everything I tweet. I don't tweet things I don't mean.
Which is interesting because sometimes you tweet two things that directly contradict each other back to back.
Because I change my opinion in the wake of new information.
Very quickly.
I think the vibes are fine. I think the trade's cataclysmic. It's bad. I have concerns about what it means for Cat. I have concerns about what it means for Ant on this team. I do think there is a world where we turn this around. Hearing that we have the same record as last year, to your point, Durf, doesn't make me feel great about the trade. It actually pours gas on the fire of the first opinion, but also makes me feel better about like, well, hang on. Last season's like one of the most fun I've ever had as a Timberwolves fan. So there's time for it to figure out. We see flashes of a good, competent basketball team. It happens occasionally when there's a Gobert lob or like the ball whips around and there's good ball movement. So I'm encouraged at times for like 9 seconds that this could happen. So I think the vibes are fine. My feelings about the trade are very bad. That's mostly because I was just holding it in for so long. So that is, how is the vibes?
I do want to comment quick on
what?
the record comparison because it just feels like one of those things that's like, hey, it's not maybe as bad as we think it is, but it's also not as good as it should be.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I tweeted about this last week. The problem with the record being the same as last year is, like you said, it's not as bad. It's not that they're in the lottery or anything, although right now they are in the lottery. But it's more that they spent a lot to
not
be
move the
exactly
needle.
the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It just, let's not relitigate it because the litigation of the trade will happen on Twitter and just in the group chat and forever and ever and ever. There's not time for that on the pod. Maybe we'll do that at the end of the year. We'll kind of relitigate. We'll see like what Malik did, what Vando did.
Yeah,
what Gobert
yeah,
did,
we
and
can
we'll
take
pocket
that
that
back.
little on-air show prep. Let's go into our analysis sub-segment of how is the vibe. New segment kind
New
of.
segment.
So-
New segment.
But we broke down 3 things that we think are happening or are important talking points of the team, starting off with a look at life without Cat. Currently and maybe in the future, Brandon, we're clearing out. Take us on the journey of life without Cat.
Yeah, so to kind of go off the insufferability of Timberwolves Twitter right now, every time the Timberwolves win, there's a subset of fans that go, see, look how much better they are without Cat. They should trade Cat. They should get rid of Cat. And every time the Timberwolves lose a game, everyone else goes, see, they need Cat. They couldn't possibly win a basketball game without Cat. And so I've been like thinking a little bit about kind of Cat's place in the league and his place in the NBA as like a star, because the debate seems to always be, can Cat be the best player on a good team? And there's this one subset of people that are like, no, he absolutely can't. You need to trade him. And then there's this other subset of people that are like, oh, he's the greatest shooting big man of all time. And look at all his percentages and his efficiency numbers and all that stuff. And I kind of come out somewhere in the middle of that. And so I'm not really like my individual term, but my thing is that Cat is what I call a context dependent star. And so this is kind of broken out into 3 different tiers. So you have players who are context creators. These are like your top 5, top 10 players, the best players in the NBA. Your Jokic's, your Giannis's, your Durant's, Luka Doncic. These are guys who simply them existing, it's very hard to catastrophically mess up the construction around them. Simply by having this guy, your floor is 45 wins and you can build up better and you're a championship contender simply by having this guy. But the construction around them, they elevate the construction around them. Then there are context independent stars. And these are guys who function well in any context. Guys who, if you insert them into any of the other 29 teams, they elevate the level of play of that team because they're typically very versatile players. A lot of times they're wings, not big guys. And a lot of times they're just like what I call like souped up role players. So they do a lot of things well.
Shane Battier.
He's not a star. I don't think. So my guys some of the guys I pulled for this list are like Jeremy Grant, Drew Holiday, Brandon Ingram, Klay Thompson. Typically, these guys function really well off the ball, so they don't command a lot of like dribbling the air out of the ball or anything like that. And they're, like I said, they're typically pretty good defenders, and pretty typically they're wings or guards. Then there are context-dependent stars, and this is where Cat falls, and this is where I think a lot of the Timberwolves' best players fall, where you are required to build the correct roster around them to succeed. And a lot of times that is because they have some glaring flaw that you need to cover up for. So guys on this list are Karl Anthony Towns, Zach LaVine, Trae Young, Bradley Beal. So typically, like in Cat's case, the glaring weakness is the foul trouble. It's the defensive impact. So we saw that you can construct. We've seen the best and worst versions of team construction with Cat. We've seen teams that won the lottery and got the first overall pick and got Anthony Edwards because Cat was the best player on that team, and they just didn't have functionally the right like supporting pieces around them, versus like we saw last year, guys like Vando and Pat Bev, they were able to paper over a lot of Karl Anthony Towns' flaws on the defensive end and allow him to kind of thrive in his role. The problem with like these context dependent stars is they limit your flexibility from a team building perspective, because you have a limited amount of roster spots, and now you have to dedicate 1, 2, 3 of them to guys to fill in for your best player's flaw. It kind of like means the foundation is a little more broken. And so the problem is like that can cap the upside of your team, because it's really hard to find players that are really good at filling those flaws that aren't also flawed players on their own. So like Jared Vanderbilt, love Jared Vanderbilt, tremendous player, very flawed in his own right. So in covering up for Cat's flaws, then it like exposed a new flaw in like floor spacing. And yeah, he's a tremendous offensive rebounder, but he's not a very good defensive rebounder because he's not like big and strong and physical. Same with like Patrick Beverley. He takes like the whole like kind of like boiling pot, like maybe boiling over an edge. So the only way to paper over that with like really good players is it's really expensive and you have to get really lucky. So I guess my like long story is I think they brought in Rudy Gobert as like a guy to paper over those Cat flaws. They thought he would improve the rebounding, he would improve the rim defense, he would allow Cat to do more things. And I think that was just kind of a miscalculation. But on the other hand, like the guys that we sent out in those trades, in that trade, they were flawed in their own right and had a serious, like, I think we saw the best version of that team construction last year. Like, I don't think that team was going to win more than 46 games with internal development because of the flawed nature of the pieces around it.
You've touched on this. Well, there's a couple things I want to talk about. One, your point about Cat and like his weaknesses. Chalanga, future guest on the pod, Chalanga had a great point on a pod, I think of 2 weeks ago, where he said, I'm going to butcher it, not as eloquently as he did, but he said like, you don't cover up your best players' weaknesses. You build towards their strength. And then by building, like bringing Rudy in to cover up Cat's strength, you're killing Cat's vibe and you're also killing Ant's vibe. So it wasn't a smart move from that thing. So that's point number one. Do you have a response to that?
Well, yeah, I think the point is like, I'm not sitting here banging the table saying trade Karl Anthony Towns. My point is I think you can build a winner with Karl Anthony Towns. But my other point is I think it's trickier than people want to admit.
Yeah, well, then you think about this. So you have like a guy like Rudy who needs an offense built around him and a defense like funneled towards him. You need Cat who needs that type of, 7-footer that can shoot threes, not the easiest person to game plan for or against. And then you have D'Angelo Russell, who also requires a type of offense to thrive. And we've seen the best and worst of it. So we have, just in the starting lineup, we have 3 insanely talented players who just can't quite figure it out.
They're all like context dependent. I think we might be pushing it if we're like calling D'Angelo Russell like a context dependent star.
Context,
but like Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns are both those type of guys. And I think the design of the trade was that they would be really complementary. But I think, and once we get further into like the what's going wrong, what's not going wrong, I think there are some issues with the backcourt that are, I think it's less about Rudy and Cat not fitting. And I think it's more about the backcourt was more flawed last year than I think we were willing to admit.
So do you think it's like the inverse happening where Cat covered up the flaws of the backcourt as well, just because he was having an all-NBA season?
I think Vando and Pat Bev covered up a lot of the flaws of the backcourt. I think the turnover issues and the rebounding issues, and so this is further down the show outline, but we can just go on this. And so the two big issues right now that we're facing are the turnovers and the offensive rebounding. Obviously, like that's the thing that is has been doing them in all season. Those issues were big issues last year.
Right.
But they were mitigated by Jared Vanderbilt and Patrick Beverley specifically. I think Patrick Beverley was a tremendously underrated rebounder for his position.
Oh, it was great to see. It's why we love J-Mac still.
That was like super important for this team. And I think the turnover thing, they turned the ball over a lot last year too, but they forced a ton of turnovers too. And that was a direct result of Patrick Beverley and Jared Vanderbilt wreaking havoc. And they gave up a lot of offensive rebounds, and Jared Vanderbilt got a lot of offensive rebounds. So they basically, like right now, they're just facing this uphill battle because they're just hemorrhaging possessions.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like they're getting outshot by 15, 20 shots every game because they're turning the ball over and giving up offensive rebounds. They all those things were problems last year, but they were getting the ball back with their own offensive rebounds and forcing their own turnovers. And I think Rudy Gobert was brought in to fix the offensive rebounding problem, but I think it was a misevaluation of what the problem was. I think the problem was the guards. I think we looked at the team last year and they were small. And when they gave up a bunch of offensive rebounds, we said, what do we expect? They're so small. So we went out and we got Rudy Gobert and we're huge and he's rebounding. He's rebounding like we expected him to. But anything that bounces outside of that like 5-foot window outside of the big man zone, our guards don't box out. We don't get to loose balls. Jaden McDaniels has been a terrible rebounder. Ant and D'Lo have like their flashes, but for the most part, they're well below average too. And so I think Rudy Gobert was brought in to fix a problem that he was ill-equipped to fix. And the price of bringing him in was getting rid of some of those guys that covered up those flaws. And so now the guards are just being even more exposed for these flaws. And I don't really know what the answer is.
Okay, that was my next question. Like, what does that mean for this season?
I don't know what the answer is. The answer is the guards need to be better rebounding. I don't know if they're capable of doing
They just got to be consistent because we see it. What do you got there? If you're about to say something.
Well, I was just going to say, I think this cycles back to a point you made early on in our podcast tenure where it was like we're missing those high effort guys that aren't like ball centric, demanding, whatever. They're willing to put in the dirty work, the dogs. But I've especially noticed in like the last stretch of games how many like long boards that have just gone completely. It's like no man's land, and you see like the guards just kind of like D'Lo could have easily reached that, and he's just like stuck in mud.
Yeah, and that's I send this to the group chat like once or twice a game. I'm like, there's no such thing as a 50-50 ball with the Timberwolves. Like every 50-50 ball is like a 90-10 ball.
Well, this is a great segue. There's one guard that's hunting him down, and there's one guard that's doing his best to cover up a lot of things recently, and that is our friend Austin Rivers.
Future guest on the pod.
Future guest of the pod, Austin Rivers. We're going to do only Mighty Ducks themed bits. Austin Rivers, do you guys want to hear his stats over the last 10 games or the last 4 games? Say the last 4 games. Last 4 games.
Last 10 games. The last 10 games includes that like stretch where he shot like 75% from 3 though.
Well,
yeah, but it's like
2
so
for 2.
We'll do well.
No, he was 9 for 12. He was 9 for 12 over a 3-game stretch at one point.
You're right.
Over the last 4 games, Austin Rivers has averaged 17 points per game, 4 boards, 2 steals, 70 from 3, 70% over the last 4 games, and 73.5 from the field inside the arc. Over the last 10, 54.5% from 3, 50% inside the field. So in both 10-game and 4-game windows. Whoops, I fucked that up. He's shooting as good beyond the arc as he is inside the arc. And besides it being a burst of offense officially, a burst of Jesus Christ. I love it. I went a whole 30 minutes without stuttering. Besides being a burst of offense, he's also playing great defense, being a hustler, being a dog, tracking down those long balls, not being ball dominant, but when he gets it, he's doing his little jab, which you called it out to me at the beginning of the year.
The jab was very ineffective earlier in the year.
Now
when
it's
he wasn't making shots.
Yeah, it's working now.
He's doing the jab thing. He's causing difficult shots. He's causing some shot clock violations, really filling in that Pat Bev role, which I thought was unfillable. But he's starting to do that. Mm-hmm. And he's generally being a perimeter guy, just something that we've been lacking. Mm-hmm. And once everyone's healthy, I'm just not sure how you can pull Austin from the rotation.
No, yeah, there's no way.
Which leads me to my suggestion that Jalen Noel has to fall to the wayside. And we have to let Austin Rivers take those minutes. I agree with you.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he will when everyone gets healthy. They were talking about this on Dane's podcast. I was listening to it on the way over here.
Who?
Dane Moore.
Dane Moore.
Yes, I know.
Dane Moore has a podcast?
Dane Cook talks about the Timberwolves?
Yeah, Dane
when he's
Cook,
dating a
and he goes,
17-year-old?
Whopper.
Oh, God. 2008, what a time.
Okay, now I'm off my train.
You said Dane had a bit on his pod.
And we're talking about Austin Rivers?
We're talking about Austin Rivers. I don't remember.
Jalen Noel?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
About Jalen Noel. It was his podcast with Jace, and they were talking about how the Jalen Noel problem, he's really been bad for a pretty long stretch now. Yeah. But he's the only real source of offense off the bench. Like, he's the only creator. So we really feel like the lack of Jordan McLaughlin there too. But I definitely agree. I think when everyone's healthy, he seems like the odd man out right now. Because the two guys who have really seized the opportunity in these injury times. There was like a lot of opportunity to go around. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have fumbled the ball. Austin Rivers and Naz Reid are really the only guys who have really risen to the occasion and made a strong case that when everyone's back together and healthy, those guys need to continue to get minutes.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of Naz Reid, Nate, do you want to take us on the Naz Reid journey? Since we're talking about guys shining stars off the bench, Austin Rivers and Naz Reid.
Let's talk about fan favorite, our favorite, Nazrian, middle name Hilton Reed.
Naz Reid.
Naz Reid. Oh, we're stuck in a circle.
Oh no.
Naz Reid. Naz Reid. This is no surprise, but it kind of is, but it's still no surprise. I don't know. For whatever reason, I feel like there's just doubt that creeps in. I mean, we all love Naz Reid, but from a playability standpoint, we're always just like, is this the year Naz Reid isn't going to find his way onto the court? Like, is he just going to be stuck on the bench? And it's not. He's been insane the last 6 games. I'm going to play the game Jolly played. Do you guys want to hear the stats from the last 6 games?
Absolutely,
yes, because that's all I have prepared. It'll be about 35 minutes to get the rest of it. In the last 6 games, he's been averaging 17.6 points per game.
Hot.
7.7 rebounds per game. 2 assists.
Hot.
And he's shooting 66%. He's also led the team in plus minus over that period. Don't fact check that, but I'm pretty sure that's right.
Hang on, I'm gonna fact check it. What was the stat?
It's gonna be really hard to dig up plus minus.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
That's mostly why I didn't do it.
That's way too much.
But over that time, any game that he's played more than this is a specific. There's one game that he had 25 minutes, but anything over 25 minutes, he's been like plus 15. Part of them have been the matchups, but the 2 games that weren't that he was in the negative were both -1. So -1. So even like his poor games or whatever he's performed relatively well. It's just been like kind of that lineup he's in. But yeah, he's just been like kind of what we talked about before. It's just noticeable when he's on the court how easily the offense flows. Like he's a quick decision maker. He can create his own shots.
The decision making.
Like he gets the ball and he's got the guard skills. Yeah, to just like take it and go.
I've been super impressed with Naz off the dribble this season.
I just got goosebumps.
Kind of like out of nowhere, like flashing like legitimate guard skills, like crossing guys over, like hitting tough layups off the bounce.
It's unreal.
I don't know if it's because his dreads kind of look like a fin, but he reminds me of a dolphin. He has the smoothness of a dolphin.
Yeah, I could see
and the smarts of a dolphin.
The dolphin comp.
You really?
Yeah, I can see
That's
it.
so. Thank
That's
you.
a nice job.
Nas the Dolphin Reed is what everyone calls him.
But yeah, I mean, it's what we talked about before. Like, we knew that he is an offensive-minded center. He can score. He can facilitate. He can knock down the 3-ball, but he just doesn't have defensively. I mean, we talked about it. He's defensively a liability. He can't get boards.
He's good for a highlight block, though.
Yeah. That's true. He can rim
He
protect.
goes send one into the upper deck occasionally.
Yeah, the defensive thing with him is can he not foul?
Yep.
And can he hold up on the glass? Because when he is, as bad as the rebounding is, when it's him as the only center and all the guards, the rebounding is really bad.
Yeah.
But also it's if he can be as much of a force offensively as he has been, then he can just cancel that stuff out. You can just turn it into a track meet for the minutes when he's on the court. The question is going to be when Cat is healthy, what is the way that they integrate? They have to integrate him into the lineup.
Yeah, he can't be on the bench.
So the question is, how do they do that? Is Nas going to be part of 2 big lineups all the time? Is there going to be a 10-minute stretch of game where it's just Nas out there, and then we're leaning more into Rudy and Cat together minutes? So it's kind of a tricky thing. There's also the possibility that he might just have a lot of trade value, and
that
you could.
Sucks. But I know.
So on one hand, that does suck because it's fun to have him on our favorite team, but also it would be really cool to see because he's never going to have a huge role on the Timberwolves. And that was the case before the Rudy Gobert trade too.
Yeah.
Like he's been playing behind all NBA centers. It would be really cool to watch him go thrive somewhere else. And a trade doesn't have to be bad just because the guy you sent out is good. Like if you trade Nas Reed and get something good in return, it can be fun to watch him thrive on
automatic jersey
the Pacers or whatever.
Not good jerseys. Send him to the Suns of Josh Okogie. Get that throwback Phoenix Suns thing. Reed 11 hard. I got 2 things. One, I have a solution for the 2 bigs and how to fit in Nas Reed and Nate Knight before every game.
Go ahead.
Oh, were you about to talk?
I was just gonna say,
my bad.
He gets Kyle Anderson's role anyway.
Kyle Anderson's been awesome too. Though.
I know.
So here's the bit. Before every game, Chris Finch flips a coin, and that coin flip determines who of Cat and Rudy plays. The Timberwolves learn 2 systems,
and that's been going really well. The alternating systems.
Yes,
thing.
but now it's fully one game. You lean into one or the other. That way, the defense has to prep for 2, and that way it creates more minutes for Nate Knight and Nas Reed, and it's equitable. And then you get the Rudy rest, you get the Cat rest. Either way, fans are seeing an all NBA center. So that's my solution number 1.
That should go in our final segment today. I like that.
Which one? Hot take that we should bench one of Cat or Rudy every game. Keep them guessing.
So we're paying $80 million for one center. Basically.
This is the future of basketball.
Yeah, it's the mystery game.
Yeah.
It's like in football when you don't know which quarterback's going to start, so you have to prepare for both.
It's Knives Out. It's a mystery.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then also the guards all have to prepare for playing with both of them.
Well, that's easy.
And then my number 2 thing, which goes into my beef with the trade and why I'm so mad about it, is that the dawn of super teams is done. You can't just get Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and Ray Allen and freaking who else was on the Heat and be like, all right, now it's time to play basketball together. The 2020s are an era of culture and working together and teamwork and just winning basketball. So when you trade guys, when you think about trading guys like Nas Reed, who we've seen get better year over year, when you trade guys like Vandal that are culture guys, I think that kind of flies in the face of where the league is going, which is just you stick together like the Nuggets, like the freaking Suns, like the Pelicans, like the Celtics.
None of these teams you've cited have won a championship, though.
Yeah, I know, because we're in the midst of the Warriors, which have done the same thing twice. Of building a culture, and you get players to fit within the culture. Because the
Warriors won 2 championships because they signed
Kevin
one of
Durant,
the 10 best basketball players in NBA history.
Let's do that.
KD is the asterisk in that theory.
The Toronto Raptors, the only small mid-market team to win a championship in recent memory. Oh, and the Bucks both made gigantic trades to acquire Drew Holiday and Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, but
they're fine. Those are the bottom tier players. They're role players.
I'm talking about just general contenders, though. These are teams that have put the work.
Are they
in.
Contenders if none of them ever win?
I think
they're in the beginning part of it. The Celtics have been building this for 6 years, and now we're finally. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown aren't even in their primes yet. There's an argument that Zion's not even in his prime yet. He's not.
He's definitely not.
Yeah.
He's still losing his.
The Pelicans traded for CJ McCollum last season.
So okay. Well, this is nice. This is actually good because like then you
The Celtics traded for Malcolm Brogdon this offseason.
This is hot. This is hot. I like this. This I'm gonna spin this into proving my point.
Keep throwing
Because
teams
like
out there for him.
these are trades that are like you bring them into the culture and the point I said earlier, instead of trying to cover up your best players' weaknesses, you kind of build towards the team's strength. Or they're just good players that try hard. And Rudy is just too impossible to game plan for. Kind of like how Cat's impossible to game plan for, and D'Lo kind of like goes back to your stars tiers thing.
Yeah.
It's just boneheaded GMing, in my opinion. That's all math, no accounting for culture or how basketball actually works. No X's and O's, no strategy, no culture, no emotional intelligence. Just freaking, this is 2K. And if you put a guy that's 89 overall and 92 overall, then we should win a championship, even if we simulate the franchise mode. And that kind of makes me angry because it's, I'm a man who feels things and I want to like the team I watch.
Yeah. So I'm not sitting here trying to argue that the trade looks good or was the correct decision right now, because it looks really bad right now. I'm just arguing in favor of trading draft picks for really good players.
I'm very pro that. Don't get me wrong.
That is how teams elevate to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm pro that, but you can't uproot the culture for it. I'm saying you can't take the culture and the hustle and the winning basketball just to be like 89 overall guy.
So, but my thing is, I think that's what it looks. I think that's what it looks like now, and it might be the case.
He's a cancer.
But I don't think that was I don't think the idea was culture doesn't matter. I think they thought the culture was Ant and Cat, and that had kind of permeated through. And they thought Rudy Gobert was going to come in and take these winning habits. And like I said, on paper, Rudy Gobert should paper over a lot of Karl Anthony Towns' flaws. There's like the yin and yang, like
that's circular. We already handled this.
But the problem is that they were wrong, and that Karl Anthony Towns isn't necessarily capable of playing the role that he needs to on the defensive end. But also, and we can just go into what's going wrong and what's going right. We also just need to acknowledge the elephant in the room that Rudy Gobert has just been worse than he's ever been this year.
He's not this bad.
Yeah.
He looks disinterested and it pisses me off.
So I think that's so dumb. I don't think Rudy Gobert is not trying.
He's not. Oh, come on.
I think
I'm Rudy. That's what he looks like. That's what he looks like.
He's either regressed because of age. He might be hurt. Like he's still dealing with the ankle thing, but like I don't want to paper over that Rudy Gobert has not been as good as advertised. He's not blocking shots. He's not as big of a deterrent on the rim, around the rim. Does not have the same amount of touch around the rim that he has in the past. He's
purely Michael Scott-esque from 2 feet away, just Randy Johnsoning it at the backboard.
But yeah, so that's all fair. And if they had known that was going to be the Rudy Gobert they got, they wouldn't have made that trade. And I think that's kind of the thing that's getting papered over in all this, is that everyone thinks is acting like it was so obvious that by acquiring Rudy Gobert, he was going to be 50% worse than he's ever been.
Yeah. I think.
Well, yeah. Sorry, Dave.
Not to be the moderator in the room, but I see both sides of this. I understand what you're getting at.
Classic centrist. Centrism is the side of the oppressor.
No, I'm an Enneagram 9. Okay, I'm a peacemaker. I'm just trying to keep my friends as friends over here.
Oh, I love Brandon.
So yeah, I see what you're getting at, and I do think that building a culture is important. But I also don't think that we felt like we had a culture this time last year. Like I felt like we were kind of in a similar vibe. There was less of a pinpoint, like, oh, we made this like cataclysmic trade that you can point to, but we still had that feeling of like, I don't feel like anything's really going well. But I think that there's something to be said about the vibes of the team being bad because we're just not doing very well. And everybody's hurt. We don't have any chemistry. Like, I think that there's still time to salvage the vibes, if
100%,
you will.
100%.
I think that that's just something we're working towards. But I do think you're right in that they thought that they had the pieces in place. They thought they were covering it up. They've been wrong thus far, but again, we're 27 games into the year.
And I just don't think it's unless there's some injury they're not telling us about or something. I don't think it's that unrealistic to expect that Rudy Gobert is going to be better at some point this season, because it's pretty it's weird how much worse he has been. Like, we can talk about fit and stuff all we want, but if Rudy
matters.
But if Rudy Gobert is blocking 2 shots a game and is shooting 70% at the rim like he has his entire career, then like all of a sudden it looks a whole lot better.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen because his little ego is bruised. That's the injury they're not reporting.
We also...
So I just don't, like, I disagree with you that I don't think Rudy Gobert is just like, I'm mad, so I'm going to sabotage.
His body language. He doesn't try. He's not sabotaging. He doesn't try. What's up, Durf?
I know that this season is what matters. The now matters. But we have also talked about how we need to take a step back and realize that it's not a one and done. Like, his contract isn't done after this year.
That's interesting. You say take a step back. What are these guys? What color are these? These are rose-colored glasses. I think right now this conversation is rose-colored, and we're thinking, oh, we have Rudy, whatever. What did we call Rudy Gobert in our group chat a year ago?
I have never.
We called him a nice man. We said
never once called Rudy Gobert a bitch.
We said he gives to charity. He is a good guy.
You can check out my pinned tweet on Twitter, and I said 2 things you should know about me. 1, I love D'Angelo Russell and always have. And 2, I have never once called Rudy Gobert a bitch.
We called Rudy Gobert the number 1 captain bitch of the league.
No, Joel Embiid was the number 1 captain bitch
you're right.
of the league.
Rudy was number 2, and for years we watched Karl Anthony Towns cook this man, and we thought he'd come to us and shit would be sweet. We were deceived by Utah.
This is also not true.
What?
Karl Anthony Towns.
What?
Utah literally invented the defense that neutralized Karl Anthony Towns. The Rudy Gobert lurking off on
spin cycle the whole time. Even if he did no. Cat was cooking him, wasn't he?
No, they literally they call it the Utah defense, where they would guard Cat with a 4 and have Rudy guard Vando and double Cat.
They made it a game plan, but they did it horribly because
Cat was doing fine.
No, come on.
We may have called him that, but we also have called Pat Bev that before he played for.
No,
it's
very Pat Bev.
We didn't like Pat Bev when he was on the Clippers.
No, I loved it when he pushed Chris Paul because of the jersey.
There's a certain, as Minnesotans, there's a certain personality type that rub us the wrong way, and when they play for our team, we love them. And there's a reason that every fan in Utah loved Rudy Gobert. He's a nice guy.
Oh, I think it's colorism is the reason. Let's go into what's going right, what's going wrong. Formally. Brandon, you kind of segued into that with Rudy. Was that your number 1?
I mean, my 2 things were Rudy has underperformed and the guards.
Okay.
So we've talked about my stuff.
Yeah. Durf, what are your 2 for once?
I feel like we've pretty much covered off on everything I had. Just that we're not building towards anything right now, but we've seen some role players step up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the other thing that's going wrong, like I said, we're just missing a lot of really important players right now.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan McLaughlin is a lot more important than I think people want to acknowledge, because it sounds really dumb to be like, oh yeah, we lost because our backup point guard didn't play. But Jordan McLaughlin is a huge part of this team, like arguably one of the most important parts of the team because of how much he makes that second unit go.
Yeah. My things that were going wrong was Rudy and Jalen, so we hit that. Let's end How's the Vibe on a positive note with things that are going right. Shall I kick us off with what's going right? My 2 are Austin Rivers, which we already talked about. We're getting the Austin Rivers finally that I thought we were going to get, which led to me thinking J-Mac might get cut, which was dumb. And then number 2, I'm starting to see some City Edition jersey redemption, both on a local and national level. People are rocking with the City Edition.
I haven't seen any.
You haven't? Oh,
no.
Jolly's over here in his City Edition echo chamber.
He's got 50 burners. He's like, have you guys seen these Wolves jerseys? They're so cool.
So I StatMuse tweeted out some Anthony Edwards thing that had like the City Edition background, and some like people.
You're the one who said that looked good.
No, I said it looked good, and then I was scrolling through some of the comments later because I was getting lots of favorites on it because I'm not alone. And there's a bunch of people from like Philly and shit, and they're like, yeah, those are like those jerseys are cool. So maybe because the jerseys last year were so freaking awesome that we took these jerseys for. I'm just happy to see.
No, it's okay.
I'm happy to
it's
see.
okay.
You're just scoffing at me.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Whatever. No, okay. Well, that doesn't feel.
Maybe it's the thing where like the loudest person in the room is the one with the most wrong opinion. So everybody on Twitter's like, it's the same 50 people liking all the tweets.
Durf,
But
what do
hey,
you got for what's
I
fun
don't.
night?
I'm not gonna give you flack if you like it.
I look hot as shit. I don't care. I'll wear
You
whatever I
do.
want.
You do pull it off.
Thank you.
I
I know. You would too.
I don't really. I kind of said it already, but yeah, like it's just been cool to see the role players step up. It's been fun to see Austin Rivers have a second lease on life. Naz Reid is Naz reading, and Nate Knight is dunking our pants off. So in crunches.
God. Well,
Yeah, and some other good things. I mean, he hasn't played well in the last couple of games, but we haven't recorded in a really long time. Saw a really, really good D'Angelo Russell.
Yep.
For like a 3-week stretch there.
and obviously Anthony Edwards too.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards, but he's been kind of doing the same thing all season. I mean, he's upped the offensive juice like a little bit since Cat's been out, but like he turned the ball over a lot last night.
That's a young man. Let the young man cook.
I think the D'Angelo Russell thing it's pretty unrealistic to expect him to be as good as he was for that stretch, but it's also pretty unrealistic to expect him to be as bad as he was for the first 2-3 weeks.
Regress to the mean.
And hopefully this has not really been the case ever in D'Angelo Russell's career. He's like a really high variance, like feast or famine player, but if he could just like settle in at like 35% from behind the arc and turn it over like 2 or 3 times a game instead of like 4 or 5
Mm-hmm.
and give a little bit of a shit on the defensive end, like he will be fine. I think he's played his way though to the point where we might want to start talking about like a 1-year extension, kind of like the Pat Bev style extension, because you run a risk if you let him get to free agency that he just walks for nothing, or like his sign and trade value is also dependent on someone being willing to pay him that much money. So if you want to maintain a salary cap slot of $25 to $30 million, it might just make sense to kick the can down the road.
That goes away, right? If he
walks, yeah, because we're so far over the cap.
Yeah.
Until the new deal is signed.
Until Mark Laurie and Glenn Taylor and Alex Rodriguez secure more money to pay the luxury tax from Joe Mama Salsa.
Segue.
Joe Mama Salsa. I can't believe we haven't talked about this yet. The walking taco potential with Joe Mama Salsa is bananas.
Wonderful.
As Minnesotans. Do you guys remember in college, our freshman year in Nelson Hall at that one place we went to school?
I didn't.
You were in freaking, yeah, you
Nelson
weren't.
Hall.
Sorry.
What-
I forgot that you were.
What do we do in Nelson?
We did the walking tacos when we first
Oh,
got to,
yeah. It was like
and we
the
got
intro to college.
Yeah, and they had some nasty ass big corporate salsa. You know, I've gone on this rant a billion
I'm gonna
times.
throw up. Don't even say it.
I know, it was such a bummer. Imagine if they had Joe Mama Salsa during our welcome week walking tacos. I would have kissed six people.
Feely would have graduated, you know? If you
Oh,
Shout out. I don't think he listens to the pod.
Yeah, I don't think he does either. Great ad read. So Joe Mama
Feely,
Salsa.
if you listen to this pod, tweet at Crunch Wears No Pants and let us know.
Joe Mama Salsa, local salsa, locally sourced ingredients. It's Midwestern origin, but there's nothing Midwestern in flavor because it's vivacious. You think, oh, Midwest, lutefisk. Nah. Joe Mama's is cracking. They got the smoking hot mama. They got the hot stuff. They have the roasted garlic. They got the pineapple mango. And you can cop them at Hy-Vee Cup Foods or JoeMamasSalsa.com. JoeMammas.com. You should do the walking tacos with Joe Mama Salsa and let us know how they are. Because I don't eat Doritos anymore. Because I'm
You don't?
no, I'm
Because are they brown on that food?
they're
thing?
there. Well,
Right.
I've never been a chips guy. I've had a sweet tooth, except when it comes to chips and salsa.
I'm
So
like the complete opposite. I'm almost exclusively a chips guy.
if I'm a
No
chips
sweet
guy,
tooth.
it's blue corn tortilla chips.
That's why you're
with
the fat guy of the pod.
Oh my god,
That guy Derp over here.
let's get in. Let's get into the frickin' what are they called?
2022 year in review.
The first annual Crunch Wears No Pants
Year-end
Year-End
Panties
Panties
Award
Award
Extravaganza.
Extravaganza. The Farquin Pipe.
So we're giving out Fakwin Pipes tonight. We have all come up with 3 or so categories.
Does someone have more? I only have
I have
3.
3.
Okay, we all have 3 categories we made to celebrate the 2022 Timberwolves season. What does that mean? Well, guys,
Not
listener,
season, year.
Year. Sorry. It
Yep.
means January 1st, 2022, when basketball was fun, to now, when basketball blows because we have to watch Rudy Gobert. So we're going to go around. I think we should all take turns. We'll start with Brandon. We'll do one of yours, one of Durf's, one of mine. We'll just go in a triangular fashion.
And we're voting, correct?
Well, so no. So
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So we all have the winners picked. We give our awards, we give the nominees. You guys, we all talk about who you guys think like is going to win, and then I announce the winner. And then
we're like Entertainment Tonight.
Okay.
But you get to pick your winners, and Jolly gets
Got
to
it. Okay.
Okay, so I'm kicking us off.
Yes.
The first award, the first Fauquon Pipe Award, the Mark Madsen Memorial End of the Bench White Guy of the Year Award. Your nominees are Jake Layman, Matt Ryan, Luca Garza, and Leandro Balmaro. Gentlemen, who do you think is going to win?
Well, even though Balmaro did almost give me COVID because we kissed.
Wow.
It's got to be Jake Layman, right?
So,
Jake Layman's
so
my
Leandro
guess.
Balmaro and you guys kissed even with his Nazi background?
No, we kissed with our face.
That kiss did not age well. That was in running for the kiss of the year.
Jolly. He's out here kissing Nazis.
I had my kiss of the year on here.
I should have known because his tongue tasted like schnitzel. I'm like, hey, that's not Argentinian. That's German. Is schnitzel German?
I think so, yes.
Yeah,
Very German sounding word.
Linguistically, yes.
So you guys are in agreement?
It's Jake Layman.
Jake Layman.
Yeah.
Jake Layman is correct for his performance in how many minutes are you going to play tonight?
The
Zero.
Yeah, the zero was and like the deadpan zero was just magnificent.
Just iconic from Jake Layman.
Yeah, that was like a unanimous no-brainer from the committee. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an easy one.
I'm gonna fast follow with my Greg Steamsma Award for plain white guy on the team.
Are they the same nominees?
I only did 3, but I had Matt Ryan, Jake Layman, and Walker Kessler.
Well, I think hopefully Walker Kessler wins this. Hopefully it's not Jake Layman again, or he's going to be cleaning up these awards.
I think what's the name of the award again?
It was Greg Steamsma Award for plain white guy on the team.
Matt Ryan is the plainest white guy.
Yeah, Matt Ryan
got a plain white guy name.
It's like a guy like when you pick human in Skyrim, you don't do any customizations. It would be Matt Ryan.
Yeah, it's Matt Ryan.
No way.
He edged him out just because of the name.
Yeah,
because it's just like
the
out of the
white guy.
package.
Yeah.
Like you didn't customize at all.
Nice.
Matt Ryan hit like a 40-footer last night.
I was
Yeah.
rocking.
That was awesome.
I was
Nice.
rocking with Matt Ryan. I like him.
Quick sidebar.
Yeah.
We are all in agreement that Matt Ryan gets all of Bryn Forbes' minutes and Bryn Forbes should
100%.
never see the floor again.
Yes.
What about is it Matt Ryan or is it Wendell Moore? Or one of the either?
Well, it's Matt Ryan because Wendell Moore, I think he has a future in the NBA. We really need someone that can make a shot.
That's a good point. That's a good point. All right, it's time for my first award. Well, hey now, I'm happy you're here award. This award goes to someone we didn't necessarily think we needed, but are happy they're in our lives in 2022.
I know who's going to win.
Isn't that nice? The nominees are Greg Monroe, Michael Grady, or Patrick Beverly. This one was a bit of a barn burner.
That's I mean, my heart says obviously Greg Monroe, but it's going to be between those two.
So I think it's Michael Grady, but that might just be biased because he's in my life right now and he's going to be in my life the longest. And I'm very much enjoying Michael Grady as a broadcaster. If I had to pick, I think it's Michael Grady, but I think Jolly is going to give the award to Patrick Beverly.
I agree with you. I think it's Grady, but just because it's like a, oh, you're there and whatever. Like, it seems like it's more of like a drop in the bucket, like kind of a mist. It's Pat Bev because he was only with us for that small snippet.
I think Jolly's going to give it to Patrick Beverly.
It's Patrick Beverly. Yeah. He's in the Elite 8 for the Wolves Things bracket.
Wolves Things bracket.
He's made a big impact. I do agree that Michael Grady is a long-term winner of this because he is so freaking good.
This is kind of a fuck, marry, kill situation where we've already done the thing. like we effed Greg Monroe. No, we killed Greg Monroe. We effed Patrick Beverly, and we're married to Michael Grady.
That's true. Pat Bev's like kind of like your college girl. Like you're a freak. You do Kegels when you're riding up on it.
Oh my god.
Oh, you gotta take that out, huh?
Yeah, probably.
Take that out.
All right, cut.
All right, back to me. Our next award is the regular season Good Vibes Moment of the Year award.
Ooh,
so
this
specifies regular season because otherwise the play-in game was going to be like a runaway favorite out of this. So we've taken that out.
Wait, hang on. Is the playing game regular season or playoffs, or is it basketball purgatory.
So it's kind of like nebulous. Like it doesn't show up in playoff stats or regular season stats on Basketball Reference. It's just kind of like a game.
So it's
that floats out
purgatory. You
there.
either go to heaven, playoffs, or hell. Home.
But
Yep.
I specified regular season to exclude that from it because it would have been too obvious.
Can you say the name of the award again? I got too excited by you talking about the playing game.
The regular season good vibes moment of the year.
Yes. Okay.
So the nominees are Patrick Beverley firing the t-shirt cannon into the crowd.
Yeah, that's
Malik Beasley doing his shimmy dance after hitting his 11th three. Karl Anthony Towns scoring 60 points, or AJ Lawson scoring 2 points and everybody cheering.
That was very wholesome and made me think, hey, maybe there was culture on this
I
team.
just had to put something from this year on here because I didn't want to just keep harping on how bad the vibes are.
Yeah, I think
spoiler alert, AJ Lawson is not the winner.
Oh, shoot. That throws my whole strategy. I think it's got to be the t-shirt gun.
t-shirt cannon's too crazy. We've never seen a player do that before.
Yeah.
I actually have Malik Beasley dancing after hitting his 11th
It was
three.
a cool dance move.
I think Patrick Beverley firing the t-shirt cannon is like a memorable moment, but there was like kind of some bad vibes mixed in with that because there was the whole Portland angle of like act like you've been here before.
Yeah.
And so it kind of turned into this like debate on whether it was okay to have fun. Malik Beasley hitting his 11th three against OKC and then doing like the fake behind the back dribble and like the shimmy dance was like peak euphoria of last season. It was just everything was hitting at the right time.
And that was also like a game deciding shot, right? Like we
won that game by 40.
Was it 40?
It was I think the final score was like 130 to 100 something.
Well, I rock with that.
Yeah, if Malik scores 33 in a game, we
That's
probably
true.
scored a lot of points. Yeah, I agree with that. That also feels like it's just like shaking out some bad vibes because like historically we're just a bad 3-point shooting team.
It was
So,
just
like, it's a
like
nice
that.
little-
That felt to me like the moment. Like
Yeah.
the vibes were just impeccable at that point.
Yeah.
The fact that he ISO'd himself and everyone knows he's going to shoot even his defender, even though he's shimmying him.
It was
Just
so
hit him.
great.
That was so great. Durf, what's your second award?
My second award is the Ricky Rubio Award for most neighborly on the team, or most likely to open the door for you if you had your
He's gonna
hands full.
nominate Rudy Gobert and Jelly's gonna be pissed.
No.
If this is all white people, bro, I got a hell of an agenda to throw against you.
It's the same guys.
Bro, I'm winding up.
quick change my. No. It is there are four nominees: D'Lo, Josh Okogie, J Mac, or Torian Prince.
Oh, I think it's got to be
Josh Okogie.
Josh Okogie.
I think it's Josh Okogie.
His smile is too nice.
It's J Mac.
I see that as well.
But it's a top.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
the ultimate team player.
also a great
Yeah.
smile as well.
Yep.
Well, I thought it was based on just holding doors. Did I misunderstand the criteria to win the award?
I mean, it's
Almost
a
neighborly.
comp. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if I went to J Mac's house, I said, "Hey, I ran out of Joe Mama's salsa." He'd be like, "Hey, do you want pineapple mango or roasted garlic?"
Yeah,
And I would
just
say
like he's
both,
just like a
and he'd
nice,
give me both.
a nice dude. Yep.
Nice. Well, congrats, J Mac. Congrats on the marriage. Congrats on the degree. Congrats on
Congrats on the cool blonde tips.
the cool blonde tips and
Very
collars.
cool blunt tips.
Drop the beard care routine because mine is garbage and yours is hydrated. So
And get well soon.
and get well
Yeah,
soon.
heal up.
All right, my next award is Oops, Social Media is Public Award, right? Or Oops, Social Media is Public Right Award. It's about social media faux pas in the modern age. We have three nominees. First up, Rudy Gobert for liking a transphobic tweet calling for the prosecution of Anthony Fauci. Number two, we have Jim Peterson retweeting a COVID conspiracy documentary. And then number three, we have Anthony Edwards using a contextually homophobic slur. Or using contextually homophobic language. So Rudy Gobert, Jim Pete, Anthony Edwards, who won?
I once again think that Jolly is going to give this award to Rudy Gobert because he hates him. But the winner of this award is Anthony Edwards.
The winner of this award is actually Jim Peterson for retweeting a COVID conspiracy documentary. Rudy Gobert has always been just a piece of shit, so we should expect this. Anthony Edwards was 21 years old at the time, and he's an athlete.
We're using age, okay.
Yeah, well, he's 21, so I don't expect him to be woke like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Jim Peterson is a grown-ass man who has a public platform and has been there for 20-some years, so he should know to not retweet a COVID conspiracy documentary.
Anthony Edwards grew up in the social media era.
And I would say as far as effort towards the negative action, it would be like retweet, saying something that you recorded. Like there's some more steps. You could at least be like, oops, I accidentally like that. Oops, I accidentally retweeted that.
Anthony Edwards can be like,
I accidentally
my phone
recorded
came
that.
out and recorded me saying
That's the reason why.
That's a great point. Well, his youth is really, robbed him of this
carrying
award.
a lot of weight. Yeah, he was robbed.
He still has time to hopefully learn from his mistakes. I don't know that Jim Pete is probably going to learn a whole lot.
I don't think. Yeah, how old is he?
75. No,
He looks great.
No, I have no idea.
He looks good for 75.
I think he's like
He's probably
60 something.
I'd say 59, 61.
How old is he?
Jim Peterson is 60.
Man,
I was right in between my two guesses.
I said 60 something.
he looks good. So maybe not taking the vaccine knows the
60-0.
move. Maybe he's onto something. So yeah, Jim Pete, congrats on your first ever Fuck Win Pipe. What do you got, Brandon?
All right, my last award is the Former Future Wolf of the Year Award. Your nominees for Former Future Wolves of 2022 are Marcus Smart, John Collins, DeJounte Murray, and Ben Simmons.
Can you just read the nominees again?
Marcus Smart, John Collins, DeJounte Murray, Ben Simmons. So for context, these are all guys who have been rumored to have not necessarily been like getting traded to the Wolves, but the Wolves have been rumored to have had interest in them.
I think it's got to be Ben Simmons, right?
I actually would say John Collins just because of the number of times it's come up. Like
Is
it's a lot of frequency. I would also put Marcus Smart up there, but I'm going with John Collins for mine.
The Marcus Smart jersey swap did get me kind of hyped. I was
The
like,
Ben
ooh.
Simmons was like contained to like an off season, but I would say
I switched mine to yours. You're right, because those are pretty hot talks.
like
Actually, no, I'm going back to Ben Simmons.
Okay, well,
He says John Collins. I say Ben Simmons.
the winner is John Collins.
yes.
John Collins is a timeless
Yeah.
former future Wolf. There are like he is in the Nicholas Batum.
I was gonna
class
say, yeah.
Of like for 5 years we've been hearing about the legendary John Collins to Minnesota
Yeah.
trade.
I'm surprised you didn't put Booker on there too with how.
That wasn't a 2022.
Oh, right, recency.
2019.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Runaway
2019 runaway winner. For reference, though, if I could have any of these guys, give me Marcus Smart.
Yes.
If the rumored Malik Beasley and a first-round pick for Marcus Smart trade was even semi-realistic, I'm pissed we didn't do that.
Yeah.
But
And
there's
also,
no way that was actually.
Imagine
a
if we
trade.
brought the black jersey with the green trees and he had the green dyed hair. What a fit, bro.
Also, just imagine like if we had a guy like Patrick Beverley, but who was way better.
What?
Sign
me up.
Yeah, I am sad we didn't get Marcus
Yeah,
Smart.
I've always
Also,
always
Marcus
wanted
Smart, cool name. Just
Yeah.
strong name.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Marcus Smart.
I think all former Wolves GMs have a picture of Nicholas Batum on their wall because it just seems like year after year they wanted him.
We don't
I
do too
still
good.
want Nicholas Batum.
Yeah, that would be great.
I want him when he plays against the Wolves.
Sidebar while we talking about trades. Remember we thought the Aaron Gordon trade was a massive overpay? What was it, RJ Hampton a first and someone else for Aaron Gordon? He'd be perfect next to Cat. I'm kind of sad that we didn't.
I'm not a big Aaron Gordon.
I remember
guy.
we talked about this in the group
Did you
chat
see
before.
that dunk?
He dunks and he plays defense. And we need a dunker we need a guy in
I
the
think-
four that dunks and plays defense.
I think his defense is a little overrated. I don't think he's that much different than Jared Vanderbilt.
Let's get him and Levine, and we
yeah,
can
but he's 0-0. You love that. Well, he's 50 now. What was that?
let's get him and Levine, and we'll do a lineup of him, Levine, Ant, and Nate Knight,
And
just
Nas Reed.
destroy the rim.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, the other team would have to forfeit.
It'd be like college parties all over again. Destroy the rim, baby.
cut.
What?
Ass play, Brandon.
Cut it out. Okay, my
Yes.
final award is the fourth quarter Foy Award for most dependable in the clutch. The four
nonamies.
the four nonamies are
The four nonamies.
6 beers before I came here. Anthony Edwards, Patrick Beverley, Karl Anthony Towns, or Glue Girl.
Wait, what's the criteria for the award again?
It is the fourth quarter Foy Award for most dependable in the clutch.
Oh yeah, Glue
like
Girl.
end of the game.
Not having D'Angelo Russell as a nominee is a crime.
This is his one thing.
D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards.
I mean, like none of those people aside from Glue Girl are that dependable.
I'm
in the
mostly
clutch.
just picking like the guy that you're like, okay, ISO Ant.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Well, Ant did hit that playoff 3 to tie the game.
Yeah, and then immediately tried to jump a passing lane and gave up the
if
game
he
winner.
hit, what if he got that though? That'd have been sexy.
The team as a whole doesn't have a whole lot of clutch, so I had limited.
The answer is Glue Girl because we're undefeated in games with animal rights protest.
That's why we have to let Glenn Taylor keep the team because he's got to keep doing horrific things.
By the way, Glue Girl got absolutely trashed in the Wolves things bracket against Patrick Beverly. It was like 70-30.
It's a hard matchup.
Patrick
though.
went to go help her.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was.
You are correct. The answer is Glue Girl, 1 for 1. Or I guess 2 for 2 if you count Chain Girl as like a.
Yeah, I think Glue Girl is more of a concept than a person.
Yeah.
It's more of a mindset. It's like Wolf's back in that way.
Yeah.
All right, Durf, thank
Wait,
you.
just sidebar. Do you
Yes.
remember the third protest they tried to do where
Didn't
the
it
person,
fail?
the person like jumped over and she was gonna take off
yeah.
and she was wearing a Reps jersey
Yeah,
underneath and she was gonna eject Glenn Taylor.
Yeah.
Is that what you did do?
Yes. It was like somebody behind the bench got her right away.
Yeah, like the security guy was
Yeah.
like eyeing her and caught her, but she
That
was
was the
planning.
highlight.
She
Yeah.
was planning on pulling off her shirt to reveal a Reps uniform, and she was going to eject Glenn Taylor.
They ran out of adhesive to stick themselves to.
That's not that fire of a protest. I mean, it's
would have been
funny.
hilarious.
It's funny
hilarious.
from a bit, but it's like gluing yourself to the court is just iconic.
And then following it
Yeah.
up the next game with someone chaining themselves to the
I
stanchion.
love it. What's another adhesive or like staying type of protest? Cover yourself in duct tape and just like.
Lay on the court.
What if like they applied Velcro and then Velcro themselves?
Nail yourself to the ground.
No.
You have to be Middle Eastern to pull that off.
Oof.
I can make that joke.
Yeah, but we
Get
can't
it?
laugh.
Because it's like wood. Yes, you can. I'm allowing you.
Okay.
You can say it. You can say it.
The moment has passed.
Okay, yeah,
Last
sorry.
award.
All right. Ouch. That sucks. Okay, my last award is ouch. That sucks that he could have played for us, but doesn't award. Awarded to the best player in 2022 that has loose ties to the Wolves, aka we traded them away on draft day. The nominee. Yeah. So there's the award. The nominees are 3 of people.
Okay.
What the?
3 of people.
3.
Okay.
Okay. We have 3 nominees
3
for
of
people
those
we
people.
traded away that we could have had, but we don't. Number 1, Lauri Markkanen, Cam Johnson, or Bojan Bogdanovic. Who was the ouch that sucks that he could have played for us but doesn't award?
What was the second one?
Cam Johnson from the Suns.
Oh.
Is this who I actually would want on the Wolves? Because the answer there is Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
It's statistics based.
I
So
think you're
Lauri
going to say
Markkanen?
Lauri Markkanen because he's having the best season, but I would rather have Cam Johnson on the Wolves right now than Lauri Markkanen.
I think you're going to say Lauri Markkanen. I'm undecided.
We need role players, man.
I want Bojan.
You guys are totally right from a basketball standpoint, but this is based off stats. So it is Lauri Markkanen. If it was based on vibes, it would be Bojan Bogdanovic. Because he's balding. I love to watch a balding basketball player.
Nah, dude, Cam Johnson is like the exact thing we're missing.
I
Just a
would enjoy
dead-eye
it.
sharpshooter that can guard and is big.
Was Cam the one that he got drafted earlier than he was expected to? And what's his face?
Yeah, where Kobe White was
Kobe
like,
White. Yeah.
Cam went 11?
That was such an
That
endearing
is so
clip.
love, bro.
That was so fun.
I would also enjoy to have.
Yeah.
it'd be
I
nice
would
to
love to
Cam
have
Johnson.
Kobe White on our team.
I'd love to have Kobe Bryant on our team.
Is he play? Is Kobe White
Kobe White?
play?
Yeah, he played against the Wolves in
Yeah,
he's
just
just
don't-
like all their other guards. He doesn't play any
Okay.
defense and he can shoot.
Classic.
I want him.
Now we have our in memoriam segment. How do we preface this? Brandon, you describe it.
So we're just gonna go through and we're gonna list off the Wolves who we lost this year, who are forever in our memory, along with their cause of death, followed by a brief moment of silence to honor those passed on. So I will start. I'm sorry. Jared Vanderbilt literally ran through a wall.
McKinley Wright IV got bored to death driving back and forth between Des Moines and Minneapolis.
Malik Beasley, attacked by realtors while trying to defend his Plymouth home from prospective buyers. Again.
Patrick Beverly somehow got a third technical.
Walker Kessler got ran over by an Uber after getting tossed out of the downtown Cowboy Jacks.
Josh Okogie ran out of sunblock, so he tried to block the sun. Refs called it clean, but it was too late.
Jake Layman might still be on the end of the bench.
Leandro Balmaro.
Really emotional about this one.
I'm so sad. Suffocated while motorboating a thick Argentinian woman.
Greg Monroe, while grazing in the offseason, awaiting a howl from the wolves, he was confronted by another moose, trampled, but he still got 10 rebounds in the process.
AJ Lawson went too hard after scoring those 2 points.
All the first round picks from the Gobert trade, they were aborted. Join us in a moment of silence. And now it's time for Random Wolf of the Week. Wow. Brandon, give us the Random Wolf of the Week.
All right, you guys know the rules.
Who is
5 hints. I'm not going to tell you.
But if you were, who would it be?
You get one guess before the first hint, and then we will go from there.
It was.
Greg Steamsma.
It was the steamer.
It was not Greg Steamsma. Clue number 1. He attended the same college as Jalen Noel and Jaden McDaniels.
Washington. Who else played for
I
Washington?
couldn't name another basketball player.
Can I ask a supplementary question?
You can ask.
When?
I cannot tell you that.
How?
Well.
Okay, good.
Noel.
So he was good.
Went
This
to the
NBA
NBA.
player was
Yeah,
good.
clearly.
Okay, I think it was. I don't know. Let's say. May I take the reins on this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it was Pooh Richardson.
It was not Pooh Richardson. Clue number 2. He was drafted 6th overall by the Timberwolves in 2006.
Oh. 2006.
That era is hard for me.
So we're around OJ Mayo land, but that was 2007 or 8.
So prior.
Was it Foy? Foy was UConn though.
Yeah, he was not. No, wasn't. Was he? That doesn't matter.
Wait,
but he wasn't Washington.
You know for sure?
Foy? No. I think he was UNC.
No, Foy wasn't UNC. That was UConn, but let's say Randy Foy.
Sure.
Randy Foy.
Randy Foy is incorrect, and Randy Foy played at Villanova.
Dang it, I knew it was.
I was going to say Villanova
I knew it
after
was-
Beck told
yeah.
me it was Villanova.
Shoot. And who was his teammate? Who was Randy Foy's teammate that was also good at Villanova? There was 2 guys.
Scotty Reynolds.
I don't know if it was
Scottie
Reynolds.
Pippen.
Wow.
You can't look stuff
I'm
up
looking at Randy Foy.
I'm just Googling who it is.
Villanova teammate.
Clue number 3 goes by the nickname The Natural.
I don't know if that helps me at all.
The Natural.
Just think of first round picks.
2006. 2006?
2006.
Who was on the team in 2006?
Was it Al Jefferson?
No, we didn't
No.
draft Al Jefferson. Don't ask that. Don't.
Shoot. Nah, sorry. I thought Durf was the host, not you.
No,
that's right.
Jefferson
We didn't draft
was
him. We didn't-
like I guess it would have been 2006, but
I got confused. The Natural.
Jonathan Gomes.
You and Ryan Gomes.
That's what I meant.
Jonathan
Ryan
Gomes is a
Go-
made-up guy.
Right? No,
No,
Ryan-
we didn't draft him, so we're not guessing that either.
You're right.
Who do we draft? And
I wish we could call the audience, but they're
yeah.
hearing this in the future.
Washington. I'm so angry. Washington, 6 overall.
You
2006.
know that roster better, so just think of somebody that's.
You also might just need to guess to keep the game rolling.
Let's say what they're drafted by the freaking Timberwolves.
Yep.
The Natural
Yep.
in Washington
Yep.
in 2006.
Yep. Those are
Oh,
all.
it's
right.
I'm drawing a blank because I'm so freaking nervous.
I know we get put on the spot. Can we have like 20 minutes to talk this over? We can cut it out.
Just throw out a guess. You'll get another hint.
Fine, Ryan Gomes, even though it doesn't.
Ryan Gomes is incorrect.
Yeah, I
Clue
know.
number 4.
I'm so sad.
I think you guys are going to be really thrown by this clue. He's a 3-time All-Star and 2-time All-NBA.
Really? And we drafted him? And we
Yep.
traded him
So
immediately?
he.
In
Oh
Washington?
yeah. Wait, is it?
It's not freaking Kevin Love because that was UCLA. But same coast. Though.
Wait. Now I'm getting my years mixed up.
Say it.
No.
Say it. No, say it to me so it's not a guess.
It's too early. I was just thinking like. No.
all NBA. It must be like, maybe it's like no, it can't be a defensive joint. Who is it? Because we drafted Kevin Love in 2007, 8. God dang it. 2006. So we traded Kevin Garnett. And we drafted, who do we draft? We drafted, I'm so sad. Wait, Washington.
Yep.
6 overall.
Yep.
2006.
Did we
Yes.
did we draft Jamal Crawford?
No, we didn't draft
I
him.
know.
And that was,
I'm just trying to think of Seattle area.
I think it
Jamal
was.
Crawford is famous Washington
Yeah,
basketball
I know.
player.
That's what I was trying to.
See, I don't know.
He
college
was
like
drafted
that.
out of high school though.
Yeah.
I don't freaking know, and I'm so sad. And it's not good podcasting, and it makes me so sad that
No,
I'm
I
engaging in
know.
this right now.
I just want to be
2006.
right.
Who do we draft in 2006? Did we trade him? Can I ask that?
Wait, is it?
Can't ask anything. Your hints are your hints.
That's so sad.
I keep coming up with ideas, but then I'm like,
Say it.
no, it's not because he went to Purdue. Robbie Hummel. That's also too late.
He was
Also, we
pick,
drafted Robbie almost 6th overall.
he was pick 58.
Did we really?
No.
No, he was pick 58.
Oh, sorry, you said that. I was like, no way, we drafted him 6th. Yeah,
Wait.
you're right. First round pick.
6 overall
6th overall.
in 2006.
Yes.
From Washington.
Yes.
Just throw a guess out there.
In 2006.
Yes.
I'm trying to think so hard.
There's a lot of 6s in this thing.
What was his number? Please tell me his number
I don't
or
know.
her number.
Simone Augustus.
She was 33.
Number 3.
Number 3 in 2006. Oh, was it? No, was it Sebastian Telfair?
Sebastian Telfair is incorrect.
Because I thought, did we draft him and then trade him?
Let's just count getting a guess out there as a win.
Okay.
Because we traded, we drafted him.
Final-
And we traded
final
him.
clue. Final
Number
clue.
3.
No, we got Sebastian Telfair in the Kevin Garnett trade.
I thought we drafted him and then traded him, and then we got him back.
All right. Your final hint.
Oh God.
He was traded on draft day for Randy Foy.
Oh, then it was
Oh.
Brandon Roy.
Brandon Roy.
Brandon Roy is correct.
Dang it, dude.
Oh, Washington. 6 overall in 2006.
Yeah, this,
I knew
the
that
clues all make sense now that we know the answer.
the 6th overall by the Wolves was designed to throw you guys off because you were going to be thinking of guys we had and then left and were good, but we actually drafted him. He was not with us until the last 5 games of his career.
Yeah, until his knees blew up.
Dang it, I'm so angry. I should have for sure known that.
When you said Randy Foy, I really thought you were going to.
I forgot that we traded to get him. Because remember, it was either Rudy Gay, Randy Foy, or Brandon Roy. And the joke was, well, will they draft Foy? It's going to cost 1 extra cent to put the E on the jersey. So that was it.
Yeah, Randy Foy went 7th overall, and it was just a 1-for-1 trade.
Well, I love it. Gentlemen, we're running kind of long, so I think we should maybe nix the bonus segment and do it some other time.
I think that's a good idea.
I'm pro that.
Well, this was another rousing episode of Crunch Wears No Pants. The vibes were better. The laughs were stronger. The sexual innuendos more explicit than they've ever been. Make sure, if you made it this far in the podcast, that you give us 5 stars on Spotify and then 5 stars and a written review on Apple. It helps the pod and we appreciate it. And make sure you follow us at No Pants Crunch. Again, if you make it this far, then you'll love our presence on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram.
Go vote on the Wolves Things bracket.
Yes,
Elite 8 this week.
Elite 8. When will that be launching?
Thursday.
Results on.
That's tomorrow?
No, tomorrow is Wednesday.
Time doesn't matter.
Yeah,
between
but
Christmas and New
to
Year's.
the listeners, it's tomorrow.
Well, that's so great. I hope you have a great end of 2022 and a great start of 2023. I love it.